Genesis where there was this tree, and hanging from this tree there was a fruit, and God said, "Don't eat that." No. And it was and the course speaks of this fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and it says it's just a symbol. We're not actually talking about a real tree, but it's a useful symbol, and it's a symbol for usurping. That means taking away from God in particular, usurping the ability for self-creating. Usurping that ability from God. Evidently, there is an ability or a possibility here to eat of the fruit, to take that ability. So it's kind of like you have here that, what is. And if you eat this right here, you can make that which is, I'll just write this in lower, what is not. This is what is, and what we will do, we will make something different from that, and we will also remake ourselves so we can experience what is not, and we will, in the process, create, but let's put that in quotes, a vehicle. Let's just call it a new self, and that could say that would include the body, but not limited to it. And it's not really creating, because the Course doesn't like to use that word unless you're making something that's going to last forever. So it would actually say just make. But the quote in the Course actually says its ability for self-creating. That's what this is supposed to have given to you, an ability to create a new self. It's a self-creating ability, so I can see that which is not. That's page 1, you might say, of the story of mankind. Now, once you have done that, you discover that that which is not doesn't work nearly as well as what is. The what is not stuff doesn't work very well. That's because it's not anything. But we didn't know that, so we did this. And we are now, and that's what the Course says, that all this stuff is not real. But we want it to be real. When we ask about any problem in the world and see, oh, what a serious and terrible situation that's here, we are making, or trying to, all that we've made, we're trying to make it real, and particularly real to us. So you have the choice, every time you see a problem of any kind in the world, in your family, involving cruelty or death or suffering or just idiocy, it doesn't matter. Idiocy, that's the Course one, because it says we're all insane, so we do that a lot. You have the choice of either trying to make it real to you or remembering it's actually not real. It's not easy to remember it's not real. We are plugged into this thing immensely, just if somebody hits your body, you feel its pain. It's not you. Why are you feeling its pain for? Makes you feel good, you feel its pleasure. Why do you do that? You're not a body. Well, we can't override, there's not an override button, body on off, that we can just push, we can go to sleep. I guess maybe that's a little bit of that. And so you have the choice, and then it's interesting, isn't it? But think of it as what you would call a disaster. The wrong political party wins, war breaks out, animals are being cruelly eaten. Can you eat cruelly? Well, I mean, I don't know. You do have to dispose of the living thing. You have to eat to survive. Even that idea, that's part of this. To live, you must kill. That's a basic part. Well, what you read was talking about that. It's a basic part of what we call life, and the Course says that's not life. That's a part of the what is not stuff. Now you can blow it up into something that you will cling to and honor and love and thinks. You may not think it's wonderful, but at least it gets your attention and you keep putting energy. The whole question is, where do you want to put your energy? What kind of beliefs do you want to have your energy put into? Because whatever you believe, you strengthen, you see. And however much energy you put into something, it becomes stronger from you. But the whole thing is on the wrong side of the piece of paper. If you draw a line between the paper, there's the one side and there's another side. Wrong, I don't mean wrong exactly. I just mean it's not. It's stuff that is not. That means it can't work. I mean, when you say it's not there, it just means it's not truth. It's not the way heaven is. See, the Course in Miracles has a big punchline, and it says there's only one truth, and it's ultimate truth. We don't even know ultimate truth. That's just left us all out because we don't know ultimate. We know little truths. When I see a problem that has 2 million parts, well, I see 4 parts, and I come up from the true answer to that based on the 4 parts that I see, and we think nothing of it. And so we've been speaking a bit in here about death. Death is nothing. It's just a part of this same old thing. It means nothing. That's actually a quote. Death does nothing. Now you say, well, it's a transition. Well, yes, that's true, but you from one form that's not to another form that's not. Okay, I call that nothing pretty much. You say, well, Bob, you're just being theoretical here. When it hits you in the stomach and in the gut, you're not going to be saying things like that. This week, 2 people I know tried to commit suicide. One in my immediate family. I say it's nothing. That doesn't mean I don't want to have compassion for them. I'm just saying they're assuming that death does something, and the Course tells me actually death doesn't do anything. I mean, yes, you switch from one of these what is not to another what is not. Nothing to nothing. Now, would I like to... Oh, pushing off that remark you made about pushing off the... I'm not helping anybody commit suicide. I'll just tell you that right now. I'm not interested. You say, well, you're saying suicide is nothing. I'm saying death is nothing. Suicide is a giving up, it seems to me. I just can't handle this. It's not recognizing that you still have power. You think you're powerless, perhaps. You're desperate. I'm not a psychologist, and I don't know all the different reasons for that. Don't pretend to. But I feel that it does seem like a statement that this is just too much. How can that which is not be too much unless you have made it too much?
More than it is.
More than it is. By the way, in one of those attempted suicides, the preferred method, I happen to know because information was found, was by hanging. Hanging is a big statement. And hanging is a statement that says to me, look what you've done to me. Take a big look. Gag, gag, gag. I can't even gag because I'm dead. Death is nothing. This is a statement that life is not given to me what I want, or life is not giving me the strength that I need. It's a statement of it's a statement of you may have a different feeling about this, but it seems to me that there's anger involved in hanging. I'm angry at you people. I'm hanging, okay? Why am I hanging? I want you to see me. If I just take pills and and drown myself in alcohol. I'm not saying I need to see you. I'm just trying to get out of here. Look at me. You did this. I mean, you didn't, but I mean that's the message that I would receive. Maybe you'd receive another one. It's a call for help. In other words, in huge terms. So it's all about thinking that this is real. We made this up and we don't want to give it up. Why do you get pulled into a drama of some sort? Because you don't want to say the world's not real. Oh, please, God, let me have this unreal, stupid world a little bit longer. Well, He does. And the more you make it real to yourself, the more you get to have it. The person that commits suicide is an eternal being of light. He can't help that. He was created that way. I don't care what he does to himself or what he doesn't do to himself. That's what he is. Of course, he does. He's gone away from that. Yeah, Jim.
What about the case of suicide if somebody is terminally ill and in pain?
Assisted suicide?
That to me falls into a different category. I don't know whether it does for you all or not, but
No, assisted. I think they call it assisted.
Euthanasia or what? Yeah.
Assisted suicide.
I think that the only thing that, well, the issue there is pain and suffering, I believe, and try how to, I guess, I don't feel competent to probably say very much about that. I really don't. I give it a little thought. I don't know any more about it than you do. Okay, what would you like to say about it?
My grandmother was 96 and suffering from stomach cancer, very sick. And it was going on and on. It seemed too long, the suffering. And she was on morphine. And I was there every day because we were so close, and the nurse I was very familiar with, excuse me, said very quietly to me, she said, "It's her time." And I said, "Yes, it is." And she said, "And I can help her." I said, "I know that you can." And she did. She did. And
That was an act of love.
it was an act of love. It was assistance in her going to the spiritual world
Right.
and leaving the pain behind.
You know, the what? Oh, yes.
I've done it several times with beings that I love as much as, I hate to say that, almost as much as my children.
Yes.
Is I've taken them to the vet and, and euthanized them.
Right.
As an act of love. And to me, the grief is horrible. I mean, I had more grief over losing my German Shepherd, physical grief, than I did my daughter and my grandson. And,
Right.
It was just, that's a companion that's unconditional love. And
Right.
to put them to sleep because they're in such great
It's
pain.
compassion to give them.
Yeah. So we were talking about acts of compassion. Acts of compassion are great. I mean, they're not something to be avoided. And compassion comes out of the understanding that although this is not real, people don't know it's not real. They are attached to this physical form. They think it's them. You see, and if nobody believed it, they would. Hey, what's the body? It's no different from your car. But people are attached to their body and to their particular life that they have here, and so compassion is just a recognition of their importance and the importance of what they believe and where they're coming from, even if it's an illusion. It doesn't matter. It's it's what they think is real. You see, and so compassion is, like I say, it's just an act of, I think that's a loving thing. However, if you want to pull back and look at, that's the little picture. You get into the person's little particular life, and you're like an animal. I know I'm not gonna get to have the animal with me. I'll miss the animal. I want my animal, you know. The bigger picture is you don't lose your animal. I had a cat that I just was crazy about my little cat. She's not here anymore, but and all of a sudden she's sick. You know, sometimes animals, it seems like when they get sick, they get pretty sick. I mean, not like you and I. If an animal's sick, you need to pay a lot of attention to it. They may be, you know, and a week later she's gone. I mean, you know, it's just like that. You take them to the vet and they say, well, they got cancer. And so I take the animal home and I'll just do Reiki on it. I'll just do Reiki on it all night. I want my little Rena to be here. That's just pure self-centered, ordinary human self-centered stuff, you know. I don't really know what's the path of my cat any more than I would know what's the path for the people that are trying to commit suicide. But I think that compassion is the result for them as well. And with the animal, I happened to be in touch with a pet psychic, and I said, what did I ask? I said, is Rena in pain? And the psychic said, if she were human, she would be screaming. Animals don't scream, do they?
Well, some do,
Sometimes.
Sometimes,
yeah.
They do. An awful lot of animals just suffer silently, you know.
They do.
It seems to be more normal. Well, particularly if you're in the wild, you don't want to scream. That'll attract every other predator around to you. That's not a good idea, so they learn to be quiet. And so I took her to the vet, and the vet said, now, we're going to first, I'm not going to give her the lethal injection. I'm going to give her an injection that is like LSD or something. I mean, she will be in la la land. She will be seeing lollipops everywhere. You see, and you'll know this because her eye contact will drop. It doesn't mean she doesn't like you anymore. It just means that she's seeing all these lollipops. That's the way to say that. And then after she's thoroughly immersed in her drug experience, then you do the lethal injection, and she passes away. But the psychic told me that cat will be with me forever. I just asked her. She said, well, you travel with her. You always travel with her. She'll be with you forever. This life and others, whatever, wherever you go. And if that's what you want, that will be true for you too. If you and the animal want that, then it's going to be so. You know, the thing about our Creator is that He's allowing us to have what we want, even when it's idiocy. You know, even when it's not true. Now, it's not that in this experience there is no truth. The Course says truth is not absent here. It's just obscure. You got to look for it. It doesn't just pop up on every billboard. You can't just flip the TV on to any old station and see a bunch of truth. What you see is bang, 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 bang. If you go to the movie, you see bang, 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 bang. You see, trauma or violence or whatever. You see lots of that stuff. No, that's truth. We like all that stuff at arm's length. We don't want it on top of our head. That's why we prefer to go see a movie, and I'll watch a war play out on the screen. I don't want to be up there getting shot at. But there we are attracted to it. The cruelty is the same thing. It's all your attraction to an illusion. And you can embrace it by fighting it. You can embrace it by loving it. You can embrace it by scooping it up with a spoon and swallowing it. But it's just about giving your attention. And so when you see something, let's just think about cruelty for a minute. There is no such thing as cruelty. When you see not real, that cruelty's over here. It's not up here. You think there's cruelty in heaven? No, of course not. It ain't real then. End of story. It's an idea that we put onto an action to make it look a certain way. And say, why are you attracted to making it look that way? You're attracted to it. It not necessarily consciously. It's because you want the world to be real. That's why. If you don't want the world to be real, well, you can give lip service to that, or you can start doing something about it, and you will start detaching from the world. Most people say, I don't want to detach from the world. That's all there is. That's what they actually think.
There is no life outside of heaven. We forget that a
That's
lot.
right. We think
What
there
we
is
call
no
life.
life outside of the world.
Of the insanity.
And the Course says there is no life life apart from heaven is illusion. At best, it's an illusion of life. At worst, an
It's
illusion of
death.
death. Yes.
Okay, I have one question about cruelty. It's like Jesus says in A Course in Miracles somewhere, why would you cling to a memory if you did not desire its effects? So any kind of documentary or movie or pictures I ever saw that bring all this suffering and cruelty into my mind, I cling to it. Now, the question is, why would you cling to it? Why would you cling to it? Is it because I want to make myself feel guilty because I separated from God? I want to punish myself for separating from God, for choosing to come here?
Probably.
Is that possible?
I think
Yeah, I
so.
mean, guilt
If
is.
you want to
That's
go to
the
the
only way I
if
can
you want to go to the root
understand.
cause, it says this is the basis of all our fears.
Mhm.
We fear we've turned against God. He said, and the Course says that's not true. If God had not wanted you to eat that, it wouldn't have occurred. The Course says what God does not intend does not happen. But in our understanding, we think we snuck back in there and grabbed that fruit before he could uproot the tree and take it out of there, and we made an ability to create ourselves, and it has thoroughly fooled us. Thoroughly. It's amazing when you think about it, how completely fooled we are. Illusions dominate the mind. So you have to make an effort to de-energize them if you don't want to continue to believe it. Oh boy, this looks like it could be cruel. Oh no, I don't have to believe in cruelty. Yes, one destructible thing is hurting another destructible thing. And go for compassion instead. See it as, as love or call for love. Don't see it as, I get, why would I want to say that's cruel? Well, that makes me better than I can recognize cruelty when I see it and I step back. I'm not cruel, you are.
And that whole thing is projection anyway. There's no one out there. So that cruel scene that you see going on, there's no separation between you and the dog, between you and the person that kicked the dog. You're not separate beings to begin with. It's all a movie that you've projected out there because you want to see something that you can judge and be the judge of, but you're judging yourself. You're judging that part of yourself that believes in attack and victimization, that whole insane drama, the attacker, the victim. There's a part of you that's an attacker. There's a part of your insane ego, but that's not who you really are. But there's only one ego anyway. So your little part of the ego drama is very judgmental about that attacker because you want to play that part in the ego drama.
I want to judge.
Which, and remember, Ken Wapnick says, that's not you. You're sitting in the movie theater with Jesus right beside you, and you're choosing to get upset about the movie that's on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And you can sit there and cry your eyes out about the movie that's on the screen, or you can say, wow, I could just get up and leave the theater, or I could sit here and enjoy being beside Jesus. But it's all good either way. You can sit there and cry your eyes out or not. It's a movie.
But one has more suffering in it than the other. Best to stop looking at the movie because it's a movie of suffering and separation. Now, the real answer to this, this problem of our addiction to the world,
Yeah.
I think we all have it to varying degrees.
Yeah.
We don't, and the real answer to it is love. You have to start looking for love and only for love. in this world. Because the more you key into that, the less you're gonna be interested in the world, because this is not a world of love. I'm not saying that love's not absent here, it's just like truth. It is present here, but it's a little hard to find. We replace it by the illusion of love. The illusion of love is how important can you make me feel? That's not love. The illusion of love is, be my special person, you and I together will defeat the world. That's not love. You know, we replace love by things that are more in keeping with the world. Look for love instead, where there's acceptance, where there's a connection from one reality, the reality of you, to the reality of the other. Love is from eternal to eternal. Love doesn't, and look for that, and be thankful for that, but don't try to tie it down. Because most of us, when we find that love, if it were a bird whose wing is healing, and we love this bird, there's a certain part of you that wants to injure the wing again so it'll stay. And it won't be able to fly off. Or just keep in a cage.
Or just make it dependent on you so
Right.
you'll have control.
Love must let the other be who he thinks he is, or she
That's
thinks
right.
he is, whatever that might be.
That's right.
Well, we don't tend to want to do that. I want you all to be like me, or how I think you ought to be. See, I have to get. That's the world. That's the teaching of the world. So the world is not left, the Course says, by death,
But by truth.
but by truth. And love is what is true. Love is the only truth in this world. So look for it. Be open to it. Appreciate it. Then let it go. Keep your hands in your pocket. Don't grab onto it with your little claws and try to pull it in. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Brother